Hey, good question, because I have seen and heard different practitioners, whether they are, psychics or intuitives or even astrologers, saying that they are, either seeing in the astrology something that echoes or mirrors or reflects back to lockdown in 2020, as well as psychics or intuitives or channelers, what have you, kind of talking about issues related to that and an emergency stash of items, cash on hand, um, you know, basic grocery supplies, things that can be in your pantry, et cetera, et cetera. I personally, now, none of us are going to receive all the everything. And I know that there are some psychics and intuitives who receive far more predictive information than I do. Um, for me, the way it has felt, because I personally have not received any information that actually looks, feels, or sounds like an actual lockdown of any kind, or an issue with not needing emergency supplies, like in a fearful kind of circumstance. For me, it has felt more like other nationwide or global circumstances would create the need, the want. It would become incredibly helpful and help people feel more regulated and settled to have a little bit of extra everything on hand when and if they can. And in that, I mean something like we've seen some cyber circumstances and some financial institutions come across, cyber issues. So having a little extra cash on hand may not be the worst thing ever. I'm not seeing or feeling or sensing anything that makes me feel like the banks are going to collapse, that there's going to be a massive run. Like, for me, I've not gotten anything. It has been more like if there were an issue where, the app on your mobile phone goes haywire because something's attacked, or, a particular large financial institution ends up having some cyber circumstances or crashes or something like that, which we've seen a little bit of over the last couple years, at least, in a spotty way, that you feel a little bit better having a little bit of cash in your house. Or for me, I have for several months talked about, because we're very soon going to be going through some changes from a admin circumstance, and the way things are going to be rolling through all of that to get to the other side is likely to create where the US looks very vulnerable. And to me, the vulnerability has been heightened in two areas in particular. One, the US dollar will not necessarily hold the same value that we always have, historically speaking, at least for a period of time. I do feel that there would be a rebound when everything is settled on the other side. But I feel like there is probably at least by moving into summer, if not before that. Summer feels to me like probably the height of vulnerability for loss of value in that way, and vulnerability where people will feel worried, concerned, fearful. I hope that we can, regulate enough to be fearful of something impacting on our soil from outside. Slash, are we talking false flag? So that vulnerability to me feels like, is there an issue with supplies? Is there a circumstance where, now we're seeing the TSA and government shutdown stuff impact people being able to travel. Not necessarily a lockdown, but people kind of stuck where they're intending to be out and about. Now we're seeing gas prices going absolutely sky high. Will that lead to people feeling like, if I can't afford gas, how am I going to go out and about and do the things that I'm supposed to do? It's not a lockdown, but it's a quelching of feeling like we have the freedom to move about. It's a concern of having the value to our monetary system that we have historically been known to have. It is maybe there are supply chain issues because gas prices, because grocery prices, because people aren't buying or can't afford to buy, so it's more of like having things in the home that if we get into a pickle where the vulnerability of the dollar, or the fear that something may happen on our soil either feels uncomfortable and you don't want to be out and about in big spaces and lots of traveling and so forth, or the prices and gas prices and grocery prices and everything dampens our ability to feel like we're as free as we historically have felt. So for me, I hope that all makes sense. I'm trying to be careful of my language. I may have said things that might get flagged. I don't even know. But there's, that's how it feels to me. I have myself never gotten anything that says, we're going to be on a lockdown. You're not going to be allowed to travel. You're going to have this problem. We're going to feel like this. It's going to be just like, 2020, blah, blah, blah. It feels more like the populace will feel restriction in that way, but the restriction is because of those kinds of circumstances with rising prices, issues with travel, supply chain potentially because of those things related as well. So I hope that makes sense. Thanks for hanging around while I spun through that, but that's where I'm at. So let me know if you have other questions.